What did Setsuya Kataoka, the Chief Technology Officer at OMDS, say at CP Plus about Olympus and its future? Here is my comment on his speech. Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgård, a professional photographer from Helsinki, Finland. And before we start talking about the future of OMDS and what Setsuya Kataoka said, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that bell so you get notified when there is a new video online. My channel is all about you getting to be a better photographer. Yeah, CP Plus, one of the biggest photo fairs, is on. It's online event, of course, because, you can't really have these big conferences and big fairs right now because of the virus situation is still pretty bad in most parts of the world. I will have a link in the description of this video to that video where Setsuya Kataoka said all those things about OMDS and its future. I will first tell what was said and then I will comment about the things he said. Setsuya Kataoka started with the information about the name and why they choose the name OMDS. And the OM, of course, comes from Olympus Maitani, and that's kind of like how they want to continue the legacy of Maitani and all the core things that Olympus is: a small camera, easy to use, high technology, and then something that it's pleasure to use. And because like Maitani's philosophy, what we would say now is that the best camera is the one that you have with you. Kind of like that's not what Maitani says, but that's kind of the legacy, and that's something that they will continue and keep on doing the same Maitani way. And I think that's a good thing, and that's why, of course, they choose the OM, as I already said. And then he also said that OMD products will continue, Pen and Tough series, everything will be done, and they are also committed to the lens roadmap that was, I think it's November 2020 is the latest lens roadmap, and that's also good news. And what else? And then he said about the 150 to 400 millimeter f4.5 Pro zoom lens that the high demand was. They kind of was surprised that it was so high, the demand of that lens, because of course it's a special lens and very expensive, but that's why there is a delay. And what he explicitly said that it's not any problems in the production, it's just the demand was so high, and that's why it's delayed. And also he apologized for the delay of that product and wasn't happy about that, but he was very happy about the confidence that people have in Olympus and OMDS because the demand of that lens was so high. And he said that they are doing everything to get that lens to people who have pre-ordered it, and that's good news. And then also he was talking about developing new ideas and new value for customer, and I will get into that later. But all in all, the whole things or everything he said was really a good thing to be, and also gave me to be a bit optimistic because he was very convincing when he said these things. And let's see. And what I really like about it that they're dedicated to the lens roadmap, which is really important. Like he addressed many times about the importance of quality glass. And then there was a small Q&A, and the questions were made by Japanese photographer Mr. Saito. And he was asking different questions, and one question was of course about the Olympus brand. Is that going to stay on the cameras? And Kataoka said that for now it will. And then of course we all want to know how long, and that was something that Kataoka could not say, but he said it's going to be Olympus as long as OMDS will establish its own name. And that's interesting. So we don't know how long the cameras are called Olympus. And well, that actually doesn't really matter. If the product is the same, it doesn't really matter what the name is. There's still the Olympus legacy in those cameras. And then there were some really interesting things that they are like. They were talking about the firsts that Olympus has done, like the dust reduction and live view and many other things. Olympus has been the first in the world to implement in a camera, and that's something that Kataoka said that they will want to do some more. So they want to introduce some new technologies. But he also said that it's not about the sake of technology, but technology that will help you make better images and make images that have never done before. And that's really interesting to see. And I'm really optimistic about that too, that what are the new implementations of technology that will be in the cameras. And one thing that Kataoka said, that it will be the AI will be, and the subject recognition will be improved and made better, and maybe introduce some new subject for the camera to recognize. And that's something that I'm really interested in because I think that's the AI is the future of photography in a way. And I think that's really interesting, and it's a good way of going forward, I think. But let's see what that comes. He did not say anything what it will be, but only the things that it's going to be developed. And then there was, let's see what I have here is... and then very interesting thing was that they're also exploring new areas, not only photography. And that's also good because that will broaden the company, and it will be easier for them to make some money so that they can also make some good camera gear. Because of course you need to have some revenue to do all that technology development. And it's also what Kataoka said, that it might be some collaboration with third-party companies. So that'd be interesting if they made some collaboration with other camera companies or any other technology companies that could implement something totally new into the camera. And I hope they are agile enough to also do some collaboration with smaller companies, because that's something that Kataoka also said, that it's easier for them to be more innovative when the company is smaller, which of course kind of tells me that Olympus, the medical company, was a bit bureaucratically formed, and there were some obstacles in that because of the big company, and you have the medical, which is really huge, and then you have the smaller part of camera, which maybe was a bit neglected. I don't know about that, but that's something that I read between the lines, what Kataoka said about being a smaller company and more agile. But of course, being a smaller company also means that you might need to have some collaboration with other companies to make it bigger. But that's really interesting. And about the new areas could be some surveillance cams and also about audio stuff. He said that they might collaborate with other companies with the audio too. And that is actually something that I did not mention in the beginning when I said that they will continue to OMD cameras, pen cameras and TUF cameras, is that also the audio part or the audio division is developing new audio gear. And that's something that I think Olympus should do, because in video world, we need audio gear, and it would be great if Olympus had some wireless lab mics or something like that. That would be great, or even implement a wireless thing inside the camera, so you just need the mic and you don't need anything in the camera. It would be built in. I don't know. That's not something that Kataoka said, but that's something that came into my mind when I was watching the interview or the video about the future of OMDS. And then one important thing also is that OMDS will be working in the whole world. They're not ditching any markets that Olympus had. The only thing is that the organization is a bit more agile and small, so there might be some areas of the world or some countries that they don't have dedicated Olympus, like there is Olympus Finland or OMDS Finland, there is, or Nordic. And that's going to change in some parts of the world, but everything else should work like it has. And I think that's a wise decision. And at least here in Europe, the services and the sales has started to go on again. But of course, it's still in the shift of making the company as it going to be, because at least here in EU, the bureaucracy is a bit harsh sometimes when building a multinational companies. But that's another story. And yes, let's see. One thing he did not say is the timetable of any new products. And that would have been nice if he had given us something, because even though we already have really good cameras, but we are tempted to see what's going on and a bit, curious at what's going on and when, because that is important. Because if it goes, let's say, a year, like they said in an earlier interview, that there will be a camera that has a wow effect, it will be most likely in the beginning of 2022, when they will launch that camera. Most likely, I don't know what it is, but I hope that they will have something, during the summer or before summer, like they sometimes have had cameras in June or lenses in June, and I hope they will introduce something or launch something. And of course, one that has been in the rumors is the 8-25. I think it's 8-25 f4 that might be launched soon. But this is nothing that I know of, but that is something that's been in the rumors, and that'd be totally cool. And of course, what he said about the pen cameras, that they will continue the pen brand too, and that might tell us that the Pen F Mark II might be there, but that's also something that I don't know. I want to stress that everything that I say are my own thoughts when I'm commenting what he said and read between the lines. There's no knowledge that is exactly certain, but there are some speculations, of course. And then also another thing that Olympus had, the Nordic had a Zoom conference, or not conference, but there was Michael Gerthmann from Germany, from OMDS in Hamburg, was giving a lecture for Olympus users here in Nordic. And what he said about the kind of like the areas that Olympus is or OMDS is concentrating, and that's wildlife, bird photography, adventure, outdoor, and macro. And I think a lot of makes sense if you look at what the cameras are: weather sealing, IPS, small things to carry around, and macro, because a small sensor is advantage in macro and all that. And that is the reason why I'm not a visionary anymore, because those genres are not my core genres. So that's why, and that's why I have an agreement to be an ambassador, but haven't signed anything yet, as I've said many times. And that's all right. I'm totally happy to be an ambassador. It's no problem. And I can totally understand, because those genres are not my, of course, I've done those, but it's not my core thing. That's not what I'm known for in photography. It's about more portraiture, which is actually something that you might not know. But anyways, but all in all, I think it was a very interesting video. And as I said, I will have the video link in the description of this video. And there are the English subtitles. It's in Japanese, but the subtitles are there already. The speech was like 12 hours ago, I think it was. Yeah, no, 6 hours ago the speech was. And when I woke up, I watched it and made this video pretty fast. But all in all, I'm very happy about few things, about the dedication of the Olympus legacy. And I'm glad that they have the name, because that's personally, I don't care if what it says in the camera, if it's good and it has the Olympus legacy, because I like Olympus cameras, and I've chosen to use that camera for my work 6 years ago. I think it was 7 years ago almost, and that's why I'm really happy that they're dedicated to that. And of course, the lens roadmap is really interesting, and they're dedicated to that. And also about the optimism that Kataoka said about the new technologies that they are developing is interesting. And also, of course, really curious to see what are the new features that they will give us, so that we can make images that we have not been able to do before. That's really interesting. The most important things in a camera, of course, are that you have good quality glass, and then, of course, if you reliable bodies. And the only thing you need is a shutter button and the way to control the aperture and shutter. That's the basic needs you have. Everything else is extra. I'm not saying that the extra is not important, but remember that photography is happening in here, and the camera is only the tool to make your imagination to become reality. And when you have a camera that's easy to use, and then have some extra features that will boost up your creativity, it's a good thing. But I'm very optimistic, like I said many times, and I have a strong belief in Olympus now, because I think this speech was good. And here is the link to that video that Kataoka said all this. You might want to watch that. It's 30 minutes long, and you need to read the subtitles unless you know Japanese. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.